It's a bright, sunny day in Grenada, and I am on Grandance Beach, intending to walk the length of the beach. Start from one end and end way down on the other side. You see, exercise is important, very much important. We got to get that cardiovascular working, get those limbs moving, if we can, if we can, because don't force it, if we can. So I'm looking at the hibiscus. I do not pass flowers, and you'll find flowers all over Grenada. Grenadians love flowers. Mark that down. So many flower shows are won or were still winning in England and other places. Yes, Grenadians appreciate the beauty of nature. That's the steps, the long steps that we usually, years ago, it's the bus a shortcut to the beach. And of course, it's easier to walk down the steps, than to walk up. So I'm going to begin my walk, and as I walk, I'll just talk, whatever comes to mind. So those of you who had seen a previous video, I'm sure you'll remember this bird. I don't know if it's the same one, but that stone seemed to be a favorite spot for the birds. Looking at me, you know. Looking at me. It seemed to be a favorite spot for many of the birds. Just relaxing there, no care in the world, away from it all, away from the bustle, away from all the cares. Yes. Seem to attract, that's the stones here, seem to attract those birds. And there are certain things I would like to say come to mind, and I would just say, well, so let me begin, let me start. And of course, I'll always give you a glimpse of the water, sea water that attracts. You know, one of the things I find on my visits to Grenada, one of the things that I find is that the Lord makes it possible for me to see people who I intend to see. And there are some people I just have to see when I come to Grenada. You know why? When I was growing up, they were good to me. They were good to me. And I can't forget them. I'm not a rich man. But the little I have, like my mother, Georgina de Riggs, rest in peace. The little I have, I share. And I'm so thankful for all the friends that I have met coming back here. And on my way to the beach this morning, I met a guy, and I want to tell the story about this guy. I'm not going to call his name, but I remember years ago, I got married in Grenada. And that guy used to be struggling, doing landscaping. Yes. But he used to interact with the tourists in the hotel where he did work. And people gave me gifts when I got married in Grenada. And I got a card from that gentleman. And in those days, when I got married, $50 US was a lot of money. But when I looked at the card that he gave to me on my wedding day, there was a $50 US bill in there. I met him this morning, and suffice it to say, I just couldn't forget him. I was glad I saw him, because one good turn deserves another. So much for that. Now I'm beginning my walk, and I can't help but looking at the water and how clear the water is. It's a type of scenery that calms the nerves. This is what a vacation is about. Away from the noise, away from the bustle, away from the songs of tooting horns in the busy metropolis, away from it all. Breathing the fresh sea breeze, looking out to sea, and saying a word of prayer, thanking the Lord for sparing my life, because indeed I will never get tired of repeating that the Lord spared my life. Over and over I'll say it. The years when I was sick, 2017, and I had to hold on to a lamppost when I walked, just to breathe and to catch myself, as we would say. I had to hold on to a lamppost. And yes, I wondered, with all the heart problems that I had, if I was going to see Grenada again. But here I am, walking on the sand of Grandlands Beach, and it feels good. It feels very good, I must say. And I often take the time to say a word of prayer. I'm passing what is called the Silver Sands Hotel, and I see people there exercising. If you have good money, if you're making a lot of money, then you can afford to stay in this hotel. So it's a nice relaxing walk before I go back home. And there's a friend I have to visit today, tomorrow hopefully. I want to visit a place that is dear to my heart. I'm talking about Guave. Vonan Lubizan. I remember the time that you made me an honorary Guave man. Well, I'll leave what I have to say about Guave for that visit tomorrow. Good morning, sir. I'll leave what I have to say about Guave for that visit tomorrow. But again, passing the luxurious hotel, the Silver Sands. And of course there was a Silver Sands hotel years ago. Looking up to the Grandlands houses, up there you can see. I don't know if my good friend Doc, you know what I'm talking about, if he could spot the house where he lived. I don't know, but if this will help bring back memories, I'll be pleased. Yeah, the sand crab. The sand crab, and it's gone down in a hole. You see, the sand crab does not trust people. And you can't blame the sand crab. You look at birds, they will hop on the backs of cows in woodlands. There's a plane go out there. I don't know if I can put it in there. See the plane? See if I can. Hey, morning. Here is the plane. Just left the Maurice Bishop International Airport and it's heading somewhere. And my prayer is that the planes will be allowed to fly because you see what's going on in the world today. You see what's going on in the world. So yes, walking on the sand of Grandad's Beach, passing the Silver Sands Hotel. More houses up there. People have a very good view. Yesterday I was able to just get a peek, brief glimpse of the sun bowing into the horizon far. And that I appreciated. I savored the moment. You know, I often say, we are flesh and blood, but we are also spirit. Sadly, the spirit, some people neglect it. We like to eat our food, and some like to go to the gym, exercise, and we'll see the evidence of the exercising when we look at the bulging muscles. It shows up because they put work into it, into building the physical. But there is a spiritual aspect that we must take care of also. I'm sure you have seen pictures of monks in prayer, in earnest prayer. I'm sure you have seen people just relaxing in a quiet spot, in quiet meditation, praying to the Lord. That's all about building the spiritual aspect. Spirituality, the part of man that many seem to neglect these days. So take a moment, when you get a chance. Take a moment and say a word of prayer. Fast, if you can fast. But some people cannot fast too much. They have to keep their sugar up. And so they may need to take something sweet once in a while just to get their sugar level going and not going to coma and all that stuff. So you have to know what is good for you. You have to know what is good for you. I'm going to stop here for a little time and just look at the water. Just look at the water. I did a video just a little while ago with a guy, a resident of Grandad's, who was talking about taking headers. And the standing here, the feeling is just to jump into the water. And I'll do so soon. The feeling is just to dive. Look at the water, look at it. You know, when I'm in Brooklyn, where I presently live, I use my imagination. I write about these things. But I'll tell you, when I'm here in Grenada, I see what I write about. I see what I write about. And the feeling is greater. And now that my son and grandchildren wants to know about places, experiences that I've had while growing up in Grenada, this they can look at. And I will tell them of the times years ago when I used to come to Grandad's Beach. We used to run from the GRENADA area all the way down to this beach, exercising, training for the football game and sports intercall, as it was called. We found time to come to the beach and train. And I would encourage the coaches to do so. Bring the players to the beach on the morning time. I remember the stories told by Mr. Belgrave, how serious they used to take their football game. Those national players running up Cemetery Hill, training hard. No wonder during the days of the coach from Suriname called Uta, I think it's Uta, get the name right, pushed Grenada's football team to a pinnacle, defeating all the Wingmother Islands. Of course, in those days we had goalkeepers like Mr. Paul Roberts, who could have played in the Premier League. Alistair Telesford, the Marquez and the players from Limbex and Hurricane especially, the George brothers, great footballers. And I even remember the days of the soft shoe football. And credit must be given to an individual known as Big Bear. Big Bear and the soft shoe competition. There was a team called Dazzlers, the soft shoe, played in Tantine on Sunday mornings. One thing about Big Bear, he was the one who made the fixtures, and sometimes those guys didn't know who playing who on Sunday morning, and he just meet a guy, captain of a team, and say, boy, you're playing tomorrow, you know, all you're playing tomorrow. Well, in those days, people did all kind of things, eh? All they playing tomorrow. But I have to wonder though, back in those times, how those guys were able to play in the soft shoe competition early on Sunday morning and found time to play first divisional football in the afternoon in Queen's Park. Go to, hey morning, how are you? I see you again, man. I just doing a little piece here. We counting the days. The days. Yeah, man. Yeah, you hear that, right? We go here, yeah. God bless. I know. All right. Yeah. Yes, yeah, I wondered how those fellows footballers were able to play football in Tantine, soft shoe, and found time to play. What was it that made them so strong and powerful? Was it the Blogo and the Fig, the Dashin and the Tanya? But they did. Yeah, fellas these days, when they kick two ball, when they kick two ball, they tired already. Yes. So again, I like to walk and feature the water. And as the stories come to mind, I will tell them. And of course, mentioning Big Bear, I think his name was actually Beard, but we call him Big Bear. And some of you in America and Canada and other places will remember him tearing tickets at the Empire Cinema. There was also a guy, I think he used to work, I can't remember if it was Regal, because Regal and Reno, the same place, same theater. The name changed from time to time. A guy called Saltfish. Saltfish died some years ago. Imagine somebody calling a Saltfish. But Big Bear used to tear tickets. And well, back then, That was our entertainment. There were no computers and we didn't have any TV. In fact, a man called T.E. Noble Smith in the early years, remember the store? He used to open his window so fellows could look through. Boys and girls would look through the window and see shows like Bonanza, United States Westerns. Because back then Westerns were big. So yes, he was kind, good morning. He was kind enough to open his window so people could see the Western movies and other movies. And yes, Big Bear and others who towed Ticket and Empire and Regal, and I guess probably in the Deluxe too, Deluxe in Grenville, they used to give what was called a pass. You got a pass, meaning that you didn't have to pay. You got a pass to see the movies. And we were happy. One thing though, when you got a pass, you ended up in pit. Nobody would give you a pass to go to the high-priced balcony, house, or box. Well, box was always the place where the big shots, the well-to-do sat. They went in box. But looking back, I would say that we are fortunate, those of us who got passes, to sit in pit. Because pit was right up front. And when you look at a boxing game, boxing match on the television, those in the front row seat, those were the cherished seats. Everybody wanted the front row. Cost more. But pit, right in front of the screen, was not as expensive as box and house and balcony. So even in the cinema, there was class distinction. And one of the things that you cannot get out of the Grenadian mind is class. Some people think they're better than others, which is a joke. Because this morning I did a video that many would not want to look at. No, I know they wouldn't want to look at because it featured a grave waiting on somebody. The grave is waiting on somebody. But what it tells us, that none of us is better than the other. And we'll all end up rich and poor in the ground, or if they cremate us, well then it's different. But most of us end up in the ground. Go back to our maker. Looking at the grape tree, I spoke about it. It's not in season, as you would say. Grapes, sea grapes, not in season, but I remember the times I used to feast on the sea grapes. And not only the sea grapes, but the almonds. I saw almonds in my favorite Pandy Beach. The almonds. So look at all the sea grapes here. And of course, the hotel. You see the hotel area here. Now those of you who want to come, could stay at this hotel where you can look out at Eve when evening comes and take in the brilliant multicolored sky. The beautiful sunset. And here we have these chairs. The chairs are just waiting on some of you who would like to have a vacation. Come and sit on the chairs. Suddenly I find myself a little distance from the beach, from the sea, the water. That is. So I'll go back close to the sea, because I find also that when I walk on the sand up here, I feel that the effect of the sun is greater, hotter. But here, I get the nice breeze. And look at the water again. I'll just focus on the water. Grandad's Beach, world famous beach. And I remember the days of the beach party. When the beach party was something else, eh? We used to play cricket on the sand. And when you play cricket on the sand or football, you take chances that you wouldn't take on the grassy ground. Man, you dive in like you're mad on the sand. Because it's sand, so you could throw yourself and catch a ball and not wonder if you're going to hit a big stone. Yes, we played cricket and we played football. But one of the amazing things about the beach party was the food, man. The food. And I can hear you say it, I can hear my friends saying, but this man likes to talk about food. So I'll call this part 1. I'll continue part 2. I'll begin part 2 with the food. Anthony Wendell, the rigs on the world famous Grandad's Beach, St. George, Grenada. Give you a little glimpse here of the Carnage area, the fort, the hospital area. Stirring up some memories here this morning. God bless, God bless, God bless.